Hi everybody, welcome back. Another technical demo. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the path to enable caching data from Spring Boot to Quarkus application. This video composed of three parts to show how to enable caching data have high performance Microsoft application from Spring Boot to Quarkus. So video is a part one. My name is Daniel O. I'm working for Reddit as a technical marketing major. So let me show you quickly how to enable caching data from Spring Boot onto the Quarkus. In part one, we're going to develop the simple Microsoft application, and then we're going to enable Spring Cache. And next step, we're going to deploy the existing application and running onto the Quarkus. And then we're going to develop how to add data cache onto the Quarkus without Spring Boot application. So today, we're going to show you the first part, how to develop Microsoft's application and enable Spring Cache for high performance Microsoft's application. So let's get started the demo. So we're going to start from spring.io to get started, generate some application here. So let's change the group ID, old ACME and artifact ID, Spring that cache, and we're gonna packaging job file, and let's try to add a couple of dependency to add cache data. So first of all, we're gonna add Spring Web, and then we're gonna add Spring Cache abstraction as dependency here. So once we're done, we just download and generate this artifact file like a G file, and then extract that thing. And you're gonna use any IDE tool. In my case, I'm gonna use the VS Code to open this project. So once we open this project, let's take a look at the POM XML first. Just to make sure every dependency already pulled down here. This starter cache and starting web is already pulled down. It looks perfect. And next, go to the generated application. This is Spring Boot application with the starter, but there's nothing more than that here. So let's try to create a couple of folder along with the Spring MVC. So first of all, we're gonna create the model folder, and then we create the weather forecast Java file. Because we're gonna create a demo application, will provide weather forecast data. So first of all, we're gonna add the daily forecast as a string type list, and also we're gonna add the execution time in a millisecond as a long type, and also we're gonna create a constructor like a weather forecast with some parameter like let's say the daily forecast as a listing time. We already defined it above there, and also we're gonna add as a parameter the long type execution time in a millisecond. Just make sure we're gonna use this parameter as this the private attribute in this class JavaBeans. So just make sure adding getter error to access the other Java class like a services, controller, etc. So next step, we're gonna add further the service to add the dependency injection Java class. So let's say try to name a weather forecast service Java file, and we're gonna use this Java class, add the component annotation first. And next step, we're gonna define a couple of the attributes here. The first of all, we're gonna define the method get daily forecast. A parameter is a local date, and also we're gonna put the city, because as a return code, once the end user add a parameter like a city and date, they will return let's say next future 3 day, the next 3 days 3 days weather information. So in order to make it a little bit slower to compare buffer not using caching and after using caching, so we're gonna just print and make it slower intentionally, like a thread sleep 2 seconds, and then we're gonna return the date of a week. and add some the text message. So maybe today, I mean, like this date will be the daily date is the result. We're gonna define the get daily result method just a little bit later, but the parameter is the month of date, and also the name randomly one of four return code in the index city. So let's try to define the get the result method here. So public string get the result, and the parameter is just int type, day of month, and then we're gonna use the switch for the define the case method here. So they have a method case 0 means let's say just whether it is like a sunny, for example, and then we need more 4 cases here. So just a random case because we're not gonna use database or metric data just to make a simple application. So case 1 could be the cloudy, and the case 2 could be rainy. And also case 4 and the last case, let's say is chilly. Yeah, that's all. And the default is that the kind of the exception, like let's say throw new exception, illegal argument exception here. All right, looks good. I think we just create the services based on n basic pattern. So let's try to create controller in our project. So let's create a folder first, controller, and then create the class name. Let's say a weather forecast controller Java file here. So first thing, we needed to use the dependency injection using by the auto-wired annotation to define private weather forecast services. Now the name is just name is service, and then we're gonna use this controller with the REST controller annotation because we're gonna export some RESTful API based on specific endpoint. So in order to that, we needed to use get mapping here and the endpoint, for example, /weather. And then the method parameter and the return type weather forecast, we just define just a few minutes earlier as the Java beans. And then the method name is get forecast, and the 2 parameter using the request param annotation. First parameter city, and the second parameter the days. Let's say the days. Default is to 0 because the next 3 days future. So maybe default 0, and the string, the name is days in future string. So we're gonna have to change that. This is change this parameter type is long type. So first of all, we're gonna check the starting time to calculate the elapsed time when we invoke this method, and then we how long it takes the process got this method the result. And then we're gonna change the day in the future as a long time because the reason why I'm going to show you that right now. And the risk string type, the daily, we're going to make some array list for create simulated next 3 days weather forecast data. So array type as a list here, and then we're going to invoke the service and get forecast the method, and the date is a local date is now, and add the plus with the days in future variable here. In the first date, and the next day we're gonna just add 1 and just plus 2, etc. So just copy first array, and and second one and third one, but we needed to increase the days, the first one plus one, and the second one, the last one, the plus 2 days. Okay, we just I think this is good, and then let's try to return just one more time, just calculate the last time, the end time, the system current time millisecond, and return the new weathercast forecast and the daily forecast. Just recreate the array list and the last time, end time minus the starting time here. All right, to make sure to import the proper package like Java util. And just one more thing, we needed to run this application as the specific port, not default like 8081, because we're gonna use this application run at the same time Quarkus application and a part 2 tutorial and part 3 as well. So let's try to run Spring Boot application using Maven plugin. So it takes a couple of seconds to start up. So yeah, we gotta to start up the Spring Boot application here, and let's try to access endpoint here, 8081 weather and the parameter city. Let's try to, for example, Boston here, and we got the result here. So Friday and Saturday, Sunday, and the last time around 60 seconds to get this result. So let's try to one more time, and with this the days and future parameter like equal 1, and then it should be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and the last time almost same. So now we gotta expect the result, but execution time millisecond around 60 seconds. Let's try to one more time. It's the same result, but still we take almost the same less time, like around 60 seconds. So let's try to enable Spring Cache, make it faster, and also high performance issue, high performance the data cache. So first of all, we need to create a config folder and a caching config Java class here as part of the Java beans here. So first of all, we need to add annotation like a configuration to Spring provide the features, which means that we're going to use this Java class as a configuration, and also we're going to enable caching this configuration. So and as the annotation bean, make it use that bean and define the method of cache manager here. And then the cache manager is the return, just create the new concurrent map cache manager here, and the name is weather-cache. So that you can define any cache name, whatever you need. And go back to the weather forecast service here. The method we want to use that and make it cacheable with the cache name we just defined in configuration file. So weather cache, and then go back to the running Spring Boot and stop that and rebuild packaging and run it to apply the new code change. And just start it and go back to another terminal and try to run and try to access the endpoint here. The city is Boston. Okay, we got the same result, and still we're gonna 6 seconds because this is the first time we retrieve that. But the second time, there's almost 0 time because we're not gonna invoke actual method, but we just get the same result from cache. So that's why we need to use the cache for high performance microservices, because sometimes whenever we invoke some specific RESTful API for specific microservices, but there's no change in parameter. In this case, the cache is maybe your default option to make it better and high performance application. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe my YouTube channel and stay tuned the part to how to port this application into Quarkus application.